Ish. Lou, let me tell you, buddy, getting kids down for bed ain't as easy as it used to be. I apologize, my friend.
Well, I appreciate the work you do to get on here with me, man.
Oh, you flatter me. You flatter me with your words. Welcome, everybody listening out there, live or after the fact, to episode 6 of Drinkin Dynasty. Lou over there. Lou over here. A couple of Texas boys drinking some Texas beers. We'll get to that here in a second. Lou, why don't you tell the fine folks out there in listener land, what's the reason for the season tonight? Why are we chatting? Why are we yakking?
We're discussing the NFL draft. We're going to go over another mock draft. And we're so excited because the actual NFL draft is 3 days away, man. So all this mock drafting is about to stop, and we're about to know what's actually going to go down here soon, man. So super excited.
Oh, man. We're 72 hours out. It's peak lying season. We've got, one beat reporter for the Steelers saying the Steelers hate Shedeur Sanders now, and another better known Steelers beat reporter saying, no, that first guy's full of shit. So it's peak lying season. So who do you believe? What do you believe? Yeah.
I don't trust any. I don't trust
anybody that says they don't like a player right now. That's more manipulative. Like, it's going to come out last second that you don't like so and so. You don't like Shedeur. Okay, that seems a little sus. But anyway, so what we're going to start with, Lou and I just hashed out, and I kind of trampled all over Lou's carefully laid plans, as I do, folks. We're going to start. I'm going to do kind of a 2-minute drill through the first rounders. We're going to talk about where we think they're going to land, and then where we hope that they land if those things, those landing spots, those two spots differ. And then Lou's going to take over and just take us kind of through the other names of note, the guys that we're kind of high on or maybe lower than consensus on in this draft. Before that, though, Lou, you know how we lead this thing off here, brother. Why don't you show the fine people what's going down your gullet tonight?
Yes, sir. So tonight I am sipping on a special release. It's from Manhattan Projects. It's a Dallas brewery. And this is Nuclear Winter. So I felt like the occasion calls for this because it's just 3 days away from a nuclear level talent being drafted in the NFL draft, Ashton Jeanty. So I'm going to enjoy the special release because a big time talent's about to get drafted.
I'm proud of you for not saying Emeka Egbuka. I know you wanted to.
This is so good, by the way. You need to pick this up.
It looks like a bottle of wine.
Actually, so let me properly advertise it.
Of course.
So barrel aged imperial stout is a Cabernet wine barrel, notes of chocolate, plum, and cherry with a subtle oak fulled body. So I took a sip, man. It's delicious.
I'm not sure.
11%. So let's go.
I'm not sure that you're not drinking wine. Maybe that's the point. Is it beer? Is it wine? It's beer.
Oh, it's beer, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, good. For me, I'm going back to, I believe it was either episode 1 or 2 that I went with our friends over at Four Corners Brewery, right down south of Interstate 30 in downtown Dallas. El Chingon. Drinking some El Chingon tonight. And it's 7.3, so I'm wimping out a little bit. But I got a backup beer, so don't worry.
There you go.
All right, Lou. We've kind of talked, I don't know if we've talked these guys blue in the face. Because, we're in a lot of leagues together, you and me and all the many, many boys over in the Fantasy Index Discord. Shout out to the Dex, Fantasy Index, since 1987. If you haven't pre-ordered your Fantasy Index cheat sheet, magazine, Super Fanatic newsletter package for 2025, all that good stuff, get over to thefantasyindex.com and get in their store and spend some damn money, okay? Stimulate the economy. It's the economy's in the toilet, folks. All right. So
and also shout out to the Fantasy Index Discord channel, man. It's free. Guys always wanted to help out with questions and always active, man. Even right after the Super Bowl, when things are kind of going down, like everybody's in there talking. We're still discussing football, so join up.
If you frequent any sort of fantasy football Discord servers, like the Fantasy Pros server is probably the biggest one out there. It's got like 50,000 members at this point. There's a few other ones. There's Rotoballer. Those servers, even though they have more people than us, they're dead. It's crickets for 6-7 months of the year. The Fantasy Index Discord, the light it's like the Red Roof Inn of fantasy football chatting. Light's always on. There's always somebody chatting over in our Discord. I guarantee it. So yeah, there's a link to our general chat down below. You can come talk to Lou. Come bother Lou at work, at his real job. All right. Anyway, enough plugging. Anyway, oh no, not quite yet. Just remember, El Chingon. All right. So we've talked about these guys a lot, but we're kind of playing it close to the vest, or have been up until recently, because we're in a lot of leagues together. We're always afraid that we're going to get sniped. Oh, it's Charlie's in the trees. We're going to get sniped by one of our buddies. Oh, shit. He's going to get me on Luther Burden. So we haven't really opened up until now, but we can't hold it in anymore. Let's run through the NFL first round, the guys who we're almost sure are going to be first rounders in the NFL this year. And there's a lot of guys we're not sure about. So we'll have to kind of save them for the next part when you take over. But just real quick, let's march through the obvious top billing guys, starting with, the guy that we're 99.9% sure, almost Caleb Williams level sure now, is going to lead off the NFL draft. Cam Ward, where do you think who do you think is going to be the team that takes him? And what do you think is his fantasy platonic ideal landing spot? With a dynasty slant on it, because we are Drinkin Dynasty.
So all mocks have him going to the Titans at number 1, man. So I don't see any reason to argue that. I think that's on at the moment. And the Titans have a lot of work to do to just kind of build up that offensive line, but they love him. So I'm going to say that's going to have to be the best fit at the moment, man. I don't see him going anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels pointless to say a preferred, an ideal outcome for Ward, because we know it's going to be Tennessee at this point. I just saw, a little bit ago today, Schefter confirmed that both the Browns and the Giants at some point did make offers to the Titans for that pick. He did not specify, or at least I didn't see him specify, whether that was recently or weeks, months ago, before Ward's pro day before his second meeting with the Titans, where Ward really wowed them and made them think okay, never mind, we're not trading this pick. So he, just for context, in January, even into February, we didn't have a consensus QB1 in this class. We were pretty sure it was between Ward and Shedeur. There's it was pretty much an even split, maybe shaded toward Cam Ward a little bit on the whole. Fast forward to now, April 21st, there's no question. Cam Ward is the top quarterback in this class. He's the only quarterback that we're talking about as okay, this guy could be a superstar, possibly. Could be a franchise, face the franchise type player for the next 5+ years. So yeah, he's going to go 1. It's almost definitely going to be to the Titans. They seem to have gone from being open to trading the pick to no, we're not trading the pick. That alone to me is encouraging, because again, it's, there are teams out there the Steelers who can be competent, or at least quasi-competent, while continuing to not address the quarterback position. But teams with a clue start with the quarterback and go from there. And the Titans seem to be doing that. That alone is a sign that okay, they're getting their act together. So that's good. Yeah, obviously he's going to need a ton of help. They've started to add some guys on the offensive line. They brought over Kevin Zeitler from the Lions, which is a little bit of a coup for them, considering he's willfully going from Detroit to Tennessee. But they've already said they know they need to do something at wide receiver. They got to get multiple guys in that room, which is encouraging. I mean, it's at least they're saying they know what the problem is. Well, good. The last guy didn't. So yeah. So I like Ward. The rookie season, it's hard to put him down for a top 18 finish in fantasy.
But he has upside. He does have that upside, man. So I mean, he's worth the gamble in our Superflex Dynasty leagues, man. So yeah. For sure. All right. From there, the number 2 pick, we're thinking is going to be Travis Hunter. If you had to bet. Yeah, so a lot of mocks have him going to, you see the Giants, the Patriots, or the Browns, man. I've stated this before. I think I'd be most excited if he lands with the Patriots or Browns. The Browns kind of mentioned that they view him more as a wide receiver, although he clearly stated he wants to play both sides. So I think he's going to end up playing both sides. But I'm truly hoping he plays a lot more wide receiver. He's been one of the toughest guys when it comes to like our dynasty drafts, because sometimes I'm like, on some days I'm like, man, is he the number 2 overall pick? And then sometimes I'll move him all the way down the board to like 6, 7, or 8 because I'm questioning how much he's going to actually play, although the talent's undeniable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can take him over Jeanty. I don't think you can, unless you're rock solid at quarterback, I don't think you can take him over Ward. It starts to get tough pretty quick after that because upside, hashtag upside. If you just need, a solid, a solid win, a solid, double in the gap with your first rounder, then yeah, you probably don't go that route, because what if he never plays more than 50-60% of the snaps on offense? That's entirely plausible if he's serious about playing a lot on the other side of the ball. But if you're a contender who has like a late first and you're just a superstar away from like being the odds-on favorite year after year for the next couple of years, awful hard to look past.
Take that home run. Yeah, exactly.
So you take the discount for the uncertainty at that point and plug him into your roster as a wide receiver 4. Maybe he goes for 1,200 yards year 1 in Cleveland or in New England or something like that. So I think he's going to Cleveland. I heard a couple of rumbles about maybe the Browns be willing to trade down. I could kind of see it, but again, like Cleveland doesn't seem to be willing to embrace the fact that they're not a serious contender in 2025, or they don't appear to be. So,
Joe Flacco. I mean, they got
right.
The
Flacco. It's the Flacco Seagulls in Cleveland again. And don't forget, they got Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett said, "I'm not coming in here to hang out. I'm coming in here to win this starting job." Okay, settle down, Ken. Jesus. All right, so yeah, I've got him going to Cleveland. I mean, my preferred landing spot. Yeah, I like New England, honestly. I think New England, with the state of that receiving core, if they could somehow get him to fall or just trade up a couple spots. I don't think Cleveland's going to come off the pick, though, is the thing. I don't really buy that. I think they believe that Travis Hunter is a generational type player, and he could be. So yeah. So that's not very exciting. Anyway, let's get to something exciting. After that, it's looking like it's Jeanty is the next fantasy relevant name that's going to come off the board. Would you say, or do you think he's going to be Tet?
Nah, Jeanty over Tet, man.
Yeah, even a couple months ago, that was not so clear. Yeah. Okay. Where do you want Jeanty to go? Where do you think he goes?
I stated this before, man. A lot of mocks have him going to the Raiders. Raiders, Bears. I would love both of those landing spots. Bears would be very sexy, although I'd have to drink to my DeAndre Swift share that I haven't won my league.
DeAndre. Why, DeAndre? You ran so fast at the Combine a million years ago, DeAndre. Why?
I see the potential, but I even saw a mock the other day. Was it Mel Kiper? I forget who it was, man, but the Patriots that picked him up in a mock draft. I mean, and you stated this the last week, man. I mean, it's possible. I don't see that happening, but maybe Vrabel wants that running back that he can lean on to help carry that offense, man, and help Drake May.
It really will not surprise. So Jeanty, I can't say he's not going to go to the Raiders. I'll speculate in a second, but I'm going to say Raiders. And I think I'm going to say that's the one I want too. I think that of the potential landing spots, Chicago is very tempting, but from a dynasty standpoint, I mean, come on, let's be real. They are still the Bears. Are we excited about the Bears? Yeah. Everyone could get fired. Poles could get fired. Ben Johnson could get fired after a season. Caleb Williams could get fired. They are the Bears. They're capable of doing that to this little arrangement here. So, And DeAndre Swift is still there. Is he a significant impediment to Jeanty? Of course not. But I just don't know if I buy it.
I will say this. Tom Brady in the building, Pete Carroll, it does give the team some respect, man, and viability. So I think they're going to start turning things around.
Oh, yeah. No, if they get...
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about the Raiders. I apologize. Yeah, the Bears... Let me rewind that. Ben gives the team a lot of, respect, I would say.
I mean, I'm giving the Raiders respect right now. I think it's going to be a competent football operation in 2025 when they hit the ground in July, August. Pete Carroll, he can just chew gum to 8 wins. Like, that's all he needs is a fresh piece of Bazooka Joe, and that team's going to win 8 games. So, God, that AFC West is going to be unbelievably difficult, though.
It is.
I don't see Jeanty getting past 6. The way that things are breaking. Like I said in the Discord earlier, and you were like, "Hey, shut up." Jeanty to the Jags is now being whispered about at 5, and the Pats have talked about a running back. Why not go get Jeanty at 4 then, if you really believe that he's the generational player that most people do? So he's not going to survive in that gauntlet. He's going to be gone by 6.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm going to be scratching my head if the Jaguars do that, because I still believe in Etienne. They got Tank Bigsby there. Maybe Etienne isn't the generational talent that Ashton Jeanty could be, but I feel like he was hurt last season. I think he's going to kind of resurrect his career.
Sure.
So I'm surprised that they did that.
You could argue that Ramondre Stevenson in New England is more secure than Travis Etienne in Jacksonville, because Ramondre is a holdover from a previous regime, previous GM, kind of, but he has been paid. Etienne is a holdover from Trent Baalke, who the Jags owner Tony Khan sacrificed gleefully to get Liam Cohen to take that job. Okay, so Liam Cohen can do whatever he wants with this roster. If Etienne's not the guy, Etienne is just not the guy, and they'll trade him and they'll get something for him. We could see Etienne finish this draft on a new team. That's 100% possible, because he's coming into his extension window. He hasn't shown us anything since early 2023 of really that blew our skirt up. And Jeanty is sitting there. Like, they might go that way. So, yeah. So Jeanty on the Jags would also be very, very intriguing with Liam Cohen now running things. Although I'm not totally sold on Liam Cohen as a head coach. Don't get me wrong, but it's intriguing. All right. Anyway, so we agree. I think we agree Jeanty doesn't make it past 6 in absolutely all likelihood. And if you want him, Chicago or anybody else, you're going to have to trade up. Imagine trading up into the top 8 picks for a running back in 2025. We did not see this coming 5 years ago.
We didn't. But there's some signs of it. I know everybody was surprised when Jahmyr Gibbs got drafted. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs was 12, so maybe not top 10. Still, like, it can happen if a team believes enough. It could happen. So.
We did not have him as a first rounder.
No.
A couple weeks before the draft. Then, like, in the 48 hours, 3-4 days before the draft, we're like, okay, maybe he is going to get into the back of the first round. Maybe even top 25. Boom, goes flying off the board at 12. We were like, holy crap.
And what a great decision.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course, yeah. No, that was, you're right. Okay, so this is where things start to get dicey, because Ward, Hunter, Jeanty now feels pretty solid as the first 3 fantasy names that are going to go off the board here. After that, what are you thinking? Are you thinking Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State? Are you thinking possibly Shedeur?
So it depends, man. So like Tet McMillan, I'm starting to see him, like, sometimes I see him going to the Panthers. Sometimes I see him going to the Cowboys. Sometimes I see him falling back. I think for me personally, like, I think if he went to the Panthers, I think that kind of increases his upside a little bit, even though we're not 100% sure about Bryce Young. But I like Xavier Legette, but I think if he was a Panther, he should be the number 1 target, right? If he goes to a team like the Cowboys, I mean, that's CeeDee Lamb's team. I mean, I think he still would be a very productive wide receiver, but I mean, that will never be his team, right? I mean, we can agree on that, I think. How do you feel about those lines?
Yeah, I don't see Tet in Dallas. Like, there's just too much of a a skill set overlap, I think, with Lamb for that to make a ton of sense. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't feel like a Jerry pick to me. And also, like, looking at this board again, Tet could be gone at 4, or the Jags could trade, the Pats could trade down a couple spots, get him at 6 or 7. The Pats do need McMillan, assuming that Travis Hunter does not make it to them, which we don't think he will. So can't forget about New England on McMillan. That's a real possibility. Jacksonville is a real possibility for McMillan. Honestly, that would be a nice pairing with BTJ. They're talking about like Parker Washington and De'Ami Brown as a like co-wide receiver twos there. That feels flimsy. Obviously, the Jags really need offensive line more than anything. They should go Will Campbell with that pick, but we don't really know what Cohen and the new GM there, the kid. God, that kid, the GM for the Jags that they hired looks James Gladstone, I think. Looks like a frickin' middle schooler. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so let's hash this out. Obviously, Warren to the Jets does make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. It would help out Garrett Wilson a lot. They let Tyler Conklin walk, who was a competent player for them, not a superstar. When have they had a good tight end? Tyler Conklin's the best tight end they had this century, it feels like.
Yeah. So, I mean, Tyler Warren, some of the teams he's being mocked to at the moment, you see the Colts, the Jets, the Bears. Bears would be very I would enjoy that. Colts is kind of a turn-off for me at the moment until Anthony Richardson figures out his shit, or if about that quarterback situation. But yeah, he should definitely be in the early part of the first round, it seems.
What if the Falcons took Warren at 15 or traded up a little bit to get him and then flip Pitts to somebody?
I would be laughing my ass off.
That feels
yeah.
That feels possible. I mean, yeah, I'm talking out of my ass, but still, just looking at like where he can go. Why not Carolina?
They did spend a pretty. Was it a pretty early pick on Jaxson Sanders or no?
It was like a third. But he had that scary neck thing. He had that scary where he had to be backboarded off the field. I think Carolina's in play for Tyler Warren, honestly. Like a nice target security. But yeah, I can see it. I think Tyler Warren is one of the best players in this draft. I'm just going to say that. And I really think NFL teams. You can't tell me that NFL teams aren't looking at what Brock Bowers did last year in Vegas and not thinking, okay, let's go find us one of those. Tyler Warren is suspect number one to do that, to be that guy. They used him direct snap, manufactured touches, wildcat formation, a ton at Penn State. I mean, somebody's going to want this guy. Somebody's going to want him in the top 10. So the question is it somebody that's currently in the top 10, or is somebody going to come up and get him? I mean, I could see the Chargers coming blasting up the board to come get this guy. Absolutely, I could see that.
Like for dynasty purposes, like if the Chargers take a tight end in the first round, man, that's going to be big time.
Obviously, they're going to be connected to Loveland a lot, and rightfully so. Loveland is a fantastic player. The Texans could absolutely come get Tyler Warren. That would be a huge get for them.
I like. But yeah, that would be amazing. Now I feel like they're just gonna take an offensive lineman, man. I would like it,
sure,
but I happening.
The offensive lineman pick is a good solid single through the between the third baseman and the shortstop. Nothing wrong with that. It's better to get a base hit with your first rounder than to swing huge and miss. What if the Eagles went and got Tyler Warren, dude? Holy shit, that would be so crazy.
That would be crazy. And with what the Eagles have done over the past several drafts, man, like if it happened, I'd be like, okay, like that's what the Eagles do now. So, but
what else do the Eagles really need?
I think they could just make like luxury picks at this point, man. Like whoever they think is the best player on the board. I mean,
if you are, because the Panthers have made noise about wanting to trade down. If you're the Panthers and the Eagles say, hey, we'll give you our first, our second, our first next year, and Dallas Goedert if you want him for the 8. If you're the Panthers, why not do that? I mean, it's a big trade down, but anyway, just kicking stuff around. I like Warren a lot. I think wherever he goes, he is immediately a top 10 pick in redraft. Top 10 not top 10, top 10 pick at the position in redraft, and obviously a top 6 pick in rookie drafts this year, whenever your league's rookie draft starts. All right, McMillan. Where's McMillan going, Lou? Come on. Where do you think he's gonna go? Where do you want him to go? That's remotely realistic.
I want him to go to the Panthers. Honestly, yeah. That way, like we know that he should be the wide receiver 1 there. Bryce Young is gonna have Xavier, which I think is going to continue to develop and be a decent wide receiver. And then Adam Thielen's there. The only thing is, if McMillan goes to the Panthers, that pushes Coker down, which I know a lot of us are kind of hopeful for his upside. But I think that would be the landing spot I would want if I was looking to draft McMillan.
I think he's going to go to New England. I'm going to say New England for McMillan. Like, They landed on they got lucky with May, I felt, because I was not crazy about May coming out of the draft. I thought he was a risky pick. He was young. Things completely fell apart for the Tar Heels in 2023. They started like 6-0 and then like basically lost out. They lost at home to the 0-6 Virginia Mountaineers. Like, what the hell was that? And then their season fell apart. But no, May's for real. And it just wouldn't make sense to not get him a real receiver. I know they got him Diggs, but that's a short-term solution, and he's probably not going to be ready week 1 because of the ACL tear. So I just what else would they do with this pick? To me, it's going to be McMillan or Will Campbell, unless they're just secretly absolutely over the moon for Jeanty. It's one of those 3 guys, and the first 2 make more sense to me. So what's that?
Seeing a lot of Will Campbell there, but we'll see. Yeah. Maybe he needs some love, man. He doesn't have a. I was hoping Javon Baker was going to be that piece, man, but it hasn't flashed yet. So he needs
He needs to show something in a couple weeks in OTAs. He really does, and it needs to not be his ass.
There, so
don't show your ass, Javon. Show some playmaking. All right, so let's lighten around it a little bit. Up tempo. Second quarterback off the board this year in 2025 will be,
I think, Shedeur Sanders, man.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders. Jaxson Dart's getting some love, but I still think it's going to be Shedeur. Although we'll see what happens on draft night. So
I will say they're just about running even at this point. Like it's character assassination season big time on Shedeur. Everybody's pushing his draft stock down. Some of those teams are doing it because they want to get him at a discount. I do believe the Jaxson Dart buzz, though. I think Jaxson Dart could go to the Saints at 9. I think that is possible. Yeah. I think that they're maybe hoping to go a different direction with that pick. Maybe Tyler Warren. Possible. Or McMillan. But I think they're trying to go a different direction with that pick, maybe even trade down and just get Dart later. But anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be Shedeur second. I couldn't tell you to who, though. Geez. I
think the Saints should just do it, man. I think so. Some people are saying he's not a first-round draft pick. I think he is.
Shedeur.
I think he can get the job done. I definitely do. So,
yeah, I just looking at the board, like, unless who's going to come get him? The board is really working against Shedeur here. Like, there wasn't a lot of vacancy anyway once Tennessee settled on Cam Ward, and Cleveland and New York, it looks like, are not going to do it. That hurts. That hurt him bad. Vegas has an outside shot, but they seem to be trending away from that. They want to win now.
Vegas isn't going to do it. No way. Not with Geno Smith, man. That bought him 1 to 2 more years.
Yeah, I just don't think Tom Brady wants to do that. I think he wants to go and make a wild card push this year. It's kind of down to New Orleans or Pittsburgh unless something crazy happens. And I mean, like, Arizona trades Kyler Murray to Pittsburgh and moves up to go get Shedeur Sanders. Like, that level of crazy, which
That'd be fun, man.
Really crazy. So I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but that's really crazy. So that's probably not gonna happen. So yeah, I mean, Shedeur could be looking at the Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith. We're just talking about Geno Smith. The Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith treatment out of the top 20 potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But Dart might not be a top 12 pick either. So yeah, then they're going neck and neck. All right. So who is the next position player that goes after McMillan, Warren, possibly one of the QBs? Is it Colston Loveland? Is it Matthew Golden? What do you think, Lou?
I think Colston Loveland will come off the board before Matthew Golden. I also believe I've been beating the drum for this guy. You already know, but I think Emeka Egbuka should be a first round pick. If he's not a first round pick, I guess early second. But he's a wide receiver that I'm very high on, and I think deserves it for sure.
If you look back to last year, we weren't sure that Ricky Pearsall, we were like maybe day 2, maybe if he's lucky, until relatively late in the process.
I'm glad you said that. So last year, I don't know if you remember this, but if we're talking about like our 2024 rookie mock drafts, we thought Emeka was coming out. He was going well before Ricky Pearsall, and Ricky Pearsall came in the first round. So
yeah, Egbuka hurt his. I mean, you know what? He has a crystal ball. He couldn't have known this would happen, but Egbuka probably hurt his draft stock by staying in because Jeremiah Smith came out and just reiterated the talking point, like, but is Egbuka really a 1? He wasn't last year. I mean, next to Jeremiah Smith, he looked like more of a complimentary piece, the dreaded complimentary piece label. So I'm not going to argue with you over whether Egbuka could or couldn't be a first rounder. I could totally see it. Just the Ohio State pedigree, plus a rock solid, if not quite spectacular, collegiate career. He's played a lot of football. You know, he can run block. He's a well-rounded player. A contender is going to want this guy. Like in any team from Denver all the way down to the Eagles outside the top 20 could want this guy, absolutely, because they were just in the playoffs, and this is the type of guy that helps you make another playoff run for sure. It's hard to get that excited about him. I just don't get that feeling that there's a lot of ceiling in this guy, at least right now. At least
it's okay. I will draft him on your behalf. I got you.
I got you. You're always looking out for my interest, Lou. I appreciate you.
Always.
How about this? Omarion Hampton, first rounder, yes or no?
Yes.
Matthew Golden, first rounder, yes or no?
It seems that way, man. So if I was betting, yes.
All right, let's keep I like this lightning round. Let's keep it going. Who else? Did we miss anybody? Just one more time, once more with feeling. Shedeur Sanders, first rounder, yes or no?
Yes.
Jaxson Dart, first rounder, yes or no?
I'm starting to lean yes, man, which is surprising. I'm starting to lean yes.
Getting a lot of offensive players in this first round now. Okay, now I'm going to really press you. Jalen Milroe, first rounder, yes or no?
Yeah. No.
I agree, but I agree less than I did a week ago. I agree.
Putting up the board, man.
He's coming to the draft. That alone is he's going to be there. So is he going to be there to sit around all night? I don't know. That is an interesting one. All right, we didn't really give landing spots for everybody, but those are the guys that you should be looking to get their names called on Thursday night, folks. Lou, why don't you I'm going to hand the microphone over to you. You lead it from here. Talk to these guys about some of the slightly lesser known names in fantasy football in this rookie class.
So, hold on one second. Should we go back in and discuss the mock draft or no?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, let's do that.
All right, let's rewind. So, I'm going to talk about real quick, lightning fast, Brandon Donahue's mock draft. He's known as one of the most accurate mock drafters over the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. So real quick, since we were talking guys, Cam Ward to the Titans. Of course, we expect that. He has Travis Hunter at number 2 going to the Browns. Ashton Jeanty at number 6 to the Raiders. And this was very eye-opening to me. I kind of put a highlighter on this. We have Jaxson Dart at number 9 going to the Saints. That would be very surprising to me. Tyler Warren at number 10 going to the Bears. Very sexy pick. That's going to move him up the board. Number 12, Tet McMillan to the Cowboys.
R.I.P. Cole Kmet. Prayers up, dog. Prayers up.
Yeah. What could have been and never was. So, Colston Loveland at number 14 to the Colts. I don't like that landing spot, but all right, let's keep it going. Omarion Hampton at number 20. I'm seeing this a lot to the Broncos. Love it. Shedeur Sanders, 21 to the Steelers. And we have Matthew Golden potentially being the number 1 wide receiver for the Packers at number 23. Before I get into the next segment of questions, anything stand out for you there?
Yeah, it's hard to see the same. The Steelers might not be willing to trade up for him, but it's hard not to think that the Steelers could go Shedeur there. They have said that their priority is defensive tackle, but if you're trying to, make other teams think that, don't worry, you don't have to worry about us taking Shedeur, we're not going to pick him. That's exactly what you would say. Is like to a team that's hoping to get him like outside the top 20. But still get him on a first round deal that comes with that 5th-year option to give yourself a little more runway with him if he doesn't hit the ground running, or if you don't start him year 1. So, yeah, that feels plausible. Yeah, the Packers might need a receiver, huh? Matthew Golden to the Packers could be a thing.
Josh, he needs a wide receiver 1, man.
But like, the problem with that for me is like, the Packers kind of have those guys. Like, I've said, like, I don't see a ton of difference in the tape between Golden and Egbuka in terms of, I mean, Egbuka's a better all-around player, a more well-rounded player, but like running routes with the ball in his hands, like the types of routes that they excel at. I mean, Golden's not the same player as Egbuka, but like, I just think they have similar ceilings fantasy-wise. Is that really a player that the Packers don't already have in the aggregate? Like, is he a home run hitter? Sure, maybe. Once he's healthy again, depending on how they still feel about Christian Watson, they have that in Christian Watson to an extent. If it's a speedy, like, yak machine that gets the ball in his hands, working underneath, short stuff, and then turns it into big plays. Could that be Golden? Yes. They also have that with Jayden Reed. Like, I don't know that Golden, unless, again, kind of like with Jeanty, unless they're just in love with this guy and like they're like, if he's on the board, we're taking him at that point no matter what, then sure, all that's out the window. The Packers do have Watson and Romeo Doubs going into contract years in 2025 though, so yeah, maybe they're future proofing. Yeah, anyway, that all passes muster. Loveland to the Colts and Warren to the Bears. Yeah, I mean, Warren to the Bears, maybe. Depends on like how much they like the offensive linemen in this class and if they feel like they're done there.
Yeah.
And what Ben Johnson thinks of what they already had on hand. They had tackles. I mean, the offensive line wasn't a total lost cause, and they brought in Thuney and a couple other folks. So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. So this is just a mock draft, but hypothetically speaking, something I would actually love about this in our draft is like if Jaxson Dart gets drafted this early, that's going to push some really talented players further back in the dynasty draft. So guys like Egbuka, Matthew Golden, they're going to they might fall further back because some people are going to probably want to take a shot on Jaxson Dart earlier if he ends up being a first-round pick. So that's kind of interesting. But does Jaxson Dart move up your draft board, or does he jump Shedeur if this was to happen?
Oh, he jumps Shedeur, yeah.
Really?
Oh, he jumps Shedeur, yeah. Darts, I mean, does the Saints landing spot, do a ton for me? Not really. It's kind of a neutral landing spot. We don't. They're at a major crossroads. We have no idea if Kellen Moore is going to work out there. We have no idea if Chris Olave can shake the injury bug. Rashid Shaheed too. Same thing. They don't really have anything. Alvin Kamara. This might be. either his last or second to last season in New Orleans. It's probably one of the two. So this is a team that is going to look a lot different in 2026 with or without Dart. But he can run. He can run, and he's willing to run. In fact, some say he's way too willing to run, and that's a problem because you got to give plays a chance there, son. But he'll run, and Shedeur doesn't. So, and I don't know that Shedeur has a better arm than Dart. I really don't. So,
I mean, better accuracy, right? But
Shedeur,
I think
it has been more accurate. Obviously, he's been more accurate than anybody ever in college football. So yeah, there is that, and accuracy matters.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, if the draft was to happen like this, I think deep down inside, I think I would have Shedeur still above Jaxson Dart, but I'd see the upside potential and why people would choose Dart over Shedeur. I just think Shedeur might be a little bit more solid and stable, I guess, if that makes sense. And then let's say he went to the Steelers and has those guys to throw to. I mean, that's the Saints have Olave if he can stay on the field, and then Kamara's getting older. We'll see what they bring in the draft, but they're not exactly a team you have confidence in at the moment.
For sure. But I am more interested in seeing what Kellen Moore does with an offense than I am with seeing what Arthur Smith does. I've seen that movie. I've seen the sequel. They all sucked. It's like watching Paul Blart Mall Cop on TNT. Like, nah, change the channel. This is garbage. So next quick question, man.
If Tet got drafted to the Dallas Cowboys, does he lose some dynasty draft stock?
I don't think so.
No? So where do you feel people taking him being the number 2 on the Cowboys? Still top 5?
Yeah. One thing you can say about the Cowboys is when they take, a skill position player in the first round, they invest in that guy, and name a offensive player for the Cowboys that they took in the first round in recent memory that didn't hit. Zeke, Lamb. I mean, that's kind of the end of the list, but there's a lot of reason to think that the Cowboys are when it comes to drafting players, they have a pretty strong track record over the last 15 years. I mean, they've been getting it done.
What Dak showed last year, man, that's not Dak Prescott. I think he's going to come out firing on all cylinders. I think it limits his upside, of course, but I would feel pretty confident Dak Prescott being his quarterback and him being the number 2 wide receiver in that offense. I would feel good about it. So I'm with you on that.
Dak fell apart statistically, even besides the Cowboys losing games. His accuracy was down. His off-target throw percentage was way up. The Cowboys offensive line was pretty bad last year. The interior of the line was real bad. They had problems up front, and
they didn't have a run game at the beginning of the season either. So
what's that?
They didn't have a run game at the beginning of the season too. So I mean that hurts.
They didn't have a run game at any point in the season. Yeah, no, they couldn't run the ball to save their lives. So Tet to Dallas. I mean, yeah, Lamb puts a little bit of a cap on it. It does kind of feel like, oh, Jordan Addison. Oh, right, Justin Jefferson. It does kind of feel like that. I don't super see it. I don't super see it. It could happen, but I feel like they're going to go somewhere else with that pick. I kind of think that they would go Omarion Hampton before they'd go McMillan. Personally,
that'd be actually any running back that the Cowboys take.
Well, yeah.
Shit, I'm ready to draft.
Let's get Jeanty, boys. How do we get Jeanty in Dallas?
That'd be amazing.
He played high school ball in Frisco, right up the road from Dallas. He played.
It's meant to be. It's meant to be, right?
He played his high school football 5 miles from the Star in Frisco, Texas. Okay. What else you need to know? Yeah.
So the next question, real quick: if Colston Loveland lands on the Colts based on this mock, are you fading him in the draft?
No, I'm not. I think Loveland's for real. I think Loveland is a baller.
I think he is as well. I think I would fade him slightly because our leagues and fantasy index aren't. Oh my goodness.
PPR.
What's it called?
Tight end premium.
Tight end premium. Sorry, I couldn't get the words out, man. So I think if he landed on the Colts, I might fade him a little bit. But honestly, like, he's still somebody I would look to draft depending where he lands, like on the draft board. So
fair. But, if 2024 happens again with AR, we know what's going to happen. I mean, they were ready to pull the plug, in my opinion, on the AR experiment way too soon. They've made it very clear what's going to happen if this repeats in 2025. AR is going to be done. They're going to sit him down. He's going to stay down.
And excuse my language, but that to me is so much bullshit that the Colts are like treating it the way it is. Like, when he was drafted as somebody that needed to be developed. Like, the fact that they done to him what they've done so far, I don't understand it.
And
I don't understand. I'm rooting for the guy. I hope he's training hard this offseason. They say he's training with Josh Allen's coach. I hope he kind of comes back and shows everybody up, man. I'm really rooting for him.
I don't understand how the longtime general manager, Chris Ballard's one of the longest tenured GMs in the NFL right now, rolls the dice that hard on a risky quarterback prospect like Richardson at 4. At 4, we only have one quarterback that we think is going to go that high in this year's draft. If it's a disaster in 2025 and they move on from Richardson, he will have missed on that pick. And as far as we can tell, Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen are not candidates to be fired. That could very much change if Richardson craps out. But the fact that there's been so much heat on Richardson and seemingly none at all on the GM or the head coach does not make sense to me. But we digress. All right, Loveland. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, obviously, the short-term appeal of Loveland with the uncertainty at quarterback in Indy is iffy. But like, even in low volume situations like what Mark Andrews has had in Baltimore and what Dallas Goedert has had in Philly, those guys, we just had a post on the Fantasy Index website earlier today. Those guys are both top 6 options in full PPR over the last 4 years cumulatively. So it can be done if you're a baller, and I think Loveland fits that description. Meets the threshold. So yeah, so I wouldn't shy away.
And I got you. I just feel like there's certain guys I might kind of take over him if he lands on the Colts, but he's still somebody I would want in Dynasty. So what's being said, of course, is that the 2024 Dynasty rookie draft is a lot stronger than the 2025. But what I've noticed about the 2025, man, it goes deeper, man. Like, I wish I had so much more second round picks. So in saying that, I want to discuss some of the guys that might be going mid to late at the moment. We'll see if the draft changes that. So, you know how I love Emeka Egbuka.
I've heard.
This running back, I love. He's kind of near the top of my list. Of course, like, there's the set 5 that everybody's looking at. But this next guy, I truly love and hope to get on some of my Dynasty rosters. We got Devin Neal from Kansas. I saw your reaction. I don't. Maybe you're not too much of a fan, man. But I'm gonna read some of the stats from 2024.
Hit it.
So this guy's 21 years old, about 5'11", 216 pounds. He had 219 carries, 1,266 yards, and 16 touchdowns. Not a lot of receptions, but he has the ability. He had 24 receptions, 254 yards, and 1 touchdown. The reason I love this guy is because he's a potential 3-down back. Some of the things I saw on film with him is he's patient, has great vision. You can see him kind of predict where the blockers are going to be and take advantage of that. And he's very like shifty in some ways. I see him always falling like forward for the most part to gain those extra yards. So those are some of the pros I saw in him. How do you feel about Devin Neal?
I do like Neal. It's just tough. I like Neal a lot. He could easily be the best running back out of his tier and all the tiers below him in the NFL. Easily could be. But it is a bad year to be not quite an elite prospect at running back in this class, because, man, we got a shitload of guys like that in this one. I'm talking 15. You could name 12. You could at least name 12 running backs after the top 5 that you could make a convincing case for. I'm not kidding you.
So, quick question. I'm glad you said that. Do you think he's closer to 12 or closer to 6'7"?
I think he's in the middle.
Me too.
For me, he's in the middle. I like him,
Okay.
but and I would love him last year when it was such a shallow running back class. He's just like a lot of guys.
Could have came out last. Yeah.
Victimized by just supply and demand. Frankly, and there's plenty of demand, but man, is there a lot of supply. I like him. I comped him to like Devin Singletary, like a rich man's Devin Singletary.
I don't like it, but I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. He could absolutely have a couple of 1,100 yard seasons. I just don't see a superstar, but I see a good player. And again, what do we always say? Landing spot. If the right team, if the Chiefs come and fall in love with this guy or something like that, that changes the whole story in a hurry. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, and I listed some of his pros. So let me say some of the cons I kind of ran into. He did run a slow 40 time.
I mean,
but for his size, that's okay, right? That's what we're kind of getting at. So he ran a 40 time of 4.58. He doesn't have home run speed, obviously, and then for his size, because he's a pretty big dude, right? 5'11", 216-ish pounds. You don't really see him play with a lot of power. He's more elusive.
True.
So if I saw him play with more power, breaking tackles, I think that would even rise him up further on my list. But when I see him run, it's just so smooth. I love, to me, he's just a true running back, man. Okay, these are where my blocks are. This is the direction I'm going, and I'm taking that hole. And so I really enjoy watching him run the ball.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, I actually like him. I almost like him as much as I like Omarion Hampton, which says, well, I mean, that says more about how skeptical I am of Hampton than how much I love Neal. But yeah. Uh-oh. Your picture froze, Lou. Okay, you're back. I see you. I hear you.
Be back. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, no, I like Neal. We just got to see where he lands. A tale as old as time.
Perfect. Let's move on to the next guy if you're ready. What do you think? All right. So another guy that I enjoyed watching some film on is DJ Giddens from Kansas State.
Yeah.
He's 21 years old, 6'1", 212 pounds. Last year, he did 205 carries, 1,343 yards, 7 touchdowns. He also caught a few passes, so 21 receptions, 258 yards, and 1 touchdown. So some of the pros I saw with him, he's quick and elusive for his size, hard to tackle in the open field, and he did run a pretty good 40 time for his size, 4.43. What do you feel about DJ Giddens?
Giddens is like a true boom bust type of prospect. More than a lot of these other running backs we're going to talk about tonight or in the days, weeks ahead that go in the late day 2, early day 3 part of this draft. Giddens might crap out. I mean, a super athletic big dude who blazed a 40 in his combine a couple years ago, ran for 1,600 yards and 18 touchdowns, something like that, his last year at UPitt. Israel Abanikanda came out, and we were like, "Oh man, this guy could take the world by storm." And he fell to day 3, and then just
we haven't heard from him.
I mean, he's somewhere in the San Francisco area, we think. So Giddens is the same. He's cut from the same cloth. If it comes out, if he shows up and he can do the gritty stuff, he can square up, a linebacker 1-on-1 and punch him in the chest and buy the quarterback time to get the ball out. He can do the little stuff. Then we can talk about him. He might see the field because man, yeah, he's got burst, he's got size. He's not Jeanty Hampton with the ball in his hands, but he's even relative to a strong running back class. Physically, the size speed package is amazing. He just pulling up some of his combine, 96 percentile broad jump at what is that? 10 foot 10 feet 10 inches. The 4.43 40 ran a 1.53 10-yard split, 76th percentile for his size, 6 feet, 6 feet almost even, and 212 pounds. Yeah, the athletic profile checks out. It's just like thousands of guys before him. It seems like, is he, you know, the underwear Olympics champion, or is he a football player? We don't know yet.
One reason I put him on my list to discuss today is because I did a mock draft the other day, and I think he went like mid maybe late third. So if he drops that far,
And he
take
will.
the shot. Take the damn shot, because the potential's there. He might miss, but hey, like the size, the elusiveness, like maybe he hits, right, landing with the right team. So I did list some of the pros. Let me talk about some of the cons. I'm looking at my notes, man. So I specifically wrote here, with his size, I wish he was more of a bruiser. Kind of same situation with Devin Neal. Like, you don't really see him being a power back. He kind of chooses to juke versus kind of trying to go through guys. And maybe that's something he develops, right? And then his pass blocking needs some improvement. Yeah. But if he becomes a third-round pick, you know, we'll see what.
Yeah, in the NFL draft, yeah. Yeah, he had a 9.78 relative athletic score out of 10. He had the 9.78, which was second best of all the running backs, behind Quinshon. So yeah, I mean that's what it's going to come down to is, did he either prove to an NFL team out there, a couple NFL teams, or, you know, intrigue a couple of NFL teams into thinking, okay, maybe this guy isn't just all, you know, biceps and 40 time. Maybe he's a football player. We got to wait and see. You know, if he makes it all the way to the 6th round and goes to like the Giants, then that's going to tell us like, oh shit, no NFL teams thought this guy could actually play, and his road to fantasy relevance gets a lot trickier. So, but no, he's on my radar for sure, because yeah, if he jumps off the board to the Chiefs in the 3rd round, okay, now we got to take this guy real serious.
Definitely. It's funny that you mentioned the Chiefs, because this next guy, I kind of wrote down the Chiefs and circled it. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, 20 years old, about 5'8", 201 pounds. So he did 258 carries for 1,491 yards, 22 touchdowns. Not a lot in the receiving game, 20 receptions, 143 yards. What I saw with him on the film is good vision, explosiveness, and great at gaining short yardage. Likes to fall forward like Devin Neal. How do you feel about Dylan Sampson?
Definitely intrigued. Like, we clearly are seeing a trend of running backs getting smaller, and moreover, like, running backs who can make guys miss in the phone booth, like Kyren Williams, like Bucky Irving. They don't necessarily have to be role players, part-time players anymore, because defenses are smaller too. Like, there's no 360-pound nose tackles. There's no Ted Washingtons out there on defense anymore. You can't be a fat guy in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball anymore. It doesn't exist.
Right. So
well, there's a few. There's still a few, but they're few and far between. Who's that Baltimore Raven, like 360-pounder that had a pick 6 last year in the playoffs? That was great. But that's the exception that proves the rule. Anyway, so the knock on Sampson, and I think it's a valid one, is like the nature of the Tennessee scheme. I mean, there's a reason that Tennessee, despite having some prolific offenses under Josh Heupel the last few years, haven't put a lot of guys in the NFL that became household names. We're fingers crossed for Cedric Tillman still. But yeah, just the nature of that offense, Sampson didn't have to do much more than, you know, beat guys one-on-one to score touchdowns, and he did that. Does that necessarily translate to the next level? No. I mean, that doesn't really prove anything. So I'm very intrigued. He definitely could be the next Bucky Irving. That alone is enough to get your attention in a hurry. But yeah, just the, you know, coming out of Tennessee, it's not a red flag, but it does kind of make you go, okay, well, that's a little bit of a unique scheme that has not translated to the NFL for a lot of guys. Certainly didn't for Jalen Hyatt. Hendon Hooker, we're hoping that maybe he'll move on from Detroit here on Thursday or Friday and be the short-term plan at quarterback for a new NFL team. But Joe Milton.
Yeah.
Joe Milton maybe plays some games for the Cowboys at some point in the future. But yeah, he's on my radar. But it's lame to keep saying the same thing. But like, it's not likely that he's going to land somewhere and just be given the keys to the kingdom. That's not likely. Bucky Irving wasn't either, though. Bucky Irving, we were like, okay, maybe this guy's going to play some third downs, and then he took the thing over. So.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because on my cons I wrote, hopefully he doesn't become a gadget player. So that's a possibility for him, right?
For sure.
And then pass blocking, of course, can improve, and he didn't really show that much in the receiving game, although sometimes that doesn't always mean that he can't be a good pass catcher, right? But no, watching film on him, I did enjoy what I saw, and the reason I put him on this list is because I see him going from mid to late second a lot, and at that price in the draft, like, I'm okay with taking the shot.
Yeah, I like taking Sampson in that range. Obviously, it's still in the abstract. We don't know where he's going to land. That if he is in Atlanta or Carolina or something like that, where there's just no path to touches that we can see anytime soon, that knocks him down the board. But then you'll be able to get him later too. You know, we're not talking about Sampson in the late second anymore. We're talking about him in the mid third. So yeah.
Yeah. You ready to get into some wide receivers?
Let's do it.
All right, man. Jayden Higgins, Iowa State, 22 years old, big boy, 6'4", 216 pounds. So his last year stats: 87 receptions, 1,183 yards, and 9 touchdowns. How do you feel about Jayden Higgins?
So, receivers aren't necessarily getting smaller, but smaller receivers, kind of like smaller running backs, are looked upon I feel like they're looked upon a little more favorably these days. You don't necessarily have to be Deshaun Jackson and just an all-world speed demon from Hades to see the field as a smaller guy now. You know, Zay Flowers runs like in the high 4.4s and is doing just fine in Baltimore. So Josh Downs didn't run a sub 4.4. So, but here's the thing. NFL teams still want size outside. They covet it. So Jayden Higgins is guaranteed to be a day 2 pick and almost definitely guaranteed to be an early second round pick. It's a possibility that he sneaks into the back end of the first round. It's possible.
So I'm glad you said that, because that's a lot of people are talking about that now. So they're saying right now he's so the reason I put him on this list is because I'm seeing him go late second, but it's very possible that after the NFL draft, he's going to move up.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm going to list some of my pros real quick on him after kind of watching some film. So for his size, he ran a 4.47 in the 40. He has a 39-inch vertical, good hands, wins at contested catches, good at tracking the deep ball, and physical at the catch point. If a team takes an early shot on him, like, good luck getting him late second. He's like we said a little bit ago, he's definitely moving up, man. I like what I saw on tape. I was pretty impressed.
I wouldn't say he was overly physical for his size. I saw him play, kind of not moon balls, but like balls that hung in the air rather than coming back to the ball and jumping into the defender and boxing him out while he was over the top of the defender. He kind of got small and basket caught it. He caught it. The play that I saw, he did make, nice over-the-shoulder catches that showed that he could track the ball. But, a guy who's 6'4", go be 6'4". He did do that at the goal line. Like, he clearly is comfortable just stepping in front of a defensive back, being 6'4" and sticking his ass in the other guy's face mask and saying, "Yeah, that's mine. Get out of here." So that's what you want to see. Use your skill set. You're McMillan is one of 2 true bigs at the position in this draft. It's McMillan and it's Higgins that aren't like total lottery picks like Savion Williams. So
there's one more, but we'll get into him a little bit later. I got keep it going.
Okay, don't say Isaac Tesla, please, because
no.
Okay. But
well, he's not, just like
So I don't really see any. I mean, it's crazy to say I don't see any flaws in his game. I mean, he looks like a good player. I mean, it's hard not to see Drake London when I watch this guy in terms of his potential. Like, is he Drake London right now? No, probably not. But yeah, I mean, I got no qualms taking him 12th overall in rookie drafts, anywhere in the second round. Like, hey, go get your guy. This guy could be the guy. Absolutely. This guy could be Nico Collins real easy.
I love that you said that, man. Yep.
Took the words out of my mouth. That's what I do.
So I've been making a thing to also mention the cons that when I saw the film, man. So he occasionally struggles to get separation at times, and at the moment showed a limited route tree. But I think with him being the size that he has, I think that's okay, man. I think he can continue to learn and develop and down.
And we say, it's easy to say limited route tree because
but ask him to do anything else, so
because it's hard to disprove. But also, college football isn't like it was 5 years ago. In 5 years ago, it was very, very, very unusual, even 5 years ago, for an NFL receiver or for a college receiver who we knew was going to be, a first, second, third round pick, to be playing across from another future NFL receiver. And now we see that 2, 3, 4 teams every single year. Jaylen Noel, who is a very different type of player, was across from him in Iowa last year. That negated the need for him to do a lot of things that, it's a bad example because he's not a receiver, but like Harold Fannin Jr. for Bowling Green. He ate everything there last year because they had no other even Division I talent, let alone NFL talent. So, it's kind of like what happened this year at Texas. Like Matthew Golden, his numbers were suppressed early on by Isaiah Bond, who is gonna have some sort of role in the future in the NFL. We've seen it. I'm blanking right now on the names, but like teams will put multiple receivers into the NFL every year now, and we're still getting used to that. I feel like. Anyway, I don't think you can say that Higgins can't run all the routes. He looks very fluid. He looks very comfortable in both manufacturing yards after the catch, and also just winning on deep balls. Winning with speed and ball tracking. So it's hard not to like him. It is very hard.
Yes, I'm glad you're saying all that because honestly, like I wrote here in my notes, could be one of the biggest steals in the draft. And he's also Steve Smith approved.
Not
Jag.
He was all about. He called Coker from the cheap seats. He called Coker from 3/4 court. He called Coker back in March of last year. So
I didn't know that.
Put some respect on his name. He said, he said Coker was the best route runner in the class. Steve.
So the next guy, you actually mentioned him a little bit ago. Let's discuss some Jaylen Noel. Also same school, 22 years old. I saw some different estimates of his height and weight, but I think he's basically listed at 5'10", 194 pounds, give or take. Last year, he had 80 receptions for 1,194 yards and 8 touchdowns. What's your take on Jaylen Noel?
For me, I don't see why. And of course, NFL landing spots are about to be released. These guys are about to get drafted by their NFL teams, so that's going to have a huge say here. But right now, Matthew Golden doesn't have a team. Jaylen Noel doesn't have a team. Matthew Golden is more expensive than Jaylen Noel. I don't have any compelling, real reason to feel like Golden's going to be a better player than Jaylen Noel in the NFL. Could he be? Sure. Jaylen Noel could also be better than Golden. Would not surprise me at all. At his size, he's basically like Jordan Addison's height, but he has 25 pounds on him, and he's faster. This is a guy who potentially could be an above average to excellent creator with the ball in his hands on manufactured stuff, jet sweeps and kind of scammy stuff like that. or just, working underneath screens. He could absolutely be a weapon on wide receiver screens. And as a deep ball guy, like, to me, the comp is Xavier Worthy, honestly, in terms of a guy who could just demand that NFL team use him in all sorts of creative ways. So if he goes somewhere like Jacksonville or even Houston, Houston, they fired somebody. That kind of sucks.
Well, no, but I do see him in Houston a lot in mocks, so that's a possibility.
The Texans, as tempted as they might be to go get Egbuka or another first-round wide receiver, that money might be better spent on the offensive line that kind of torpedoed their season. Then you circle back and get a Jaylen Noel. Hard not to like that. So I like Higgins and Noel a lot. I mean, Iowa State Cyclone receivers, I was very skeptical when I cracked open the tape on both. They pass muster to me, man. These guys are NFL players.
I agree.
They are.
So the pros I wrote on him is a good route runner, gain separation, and even though he's 5'10", he plays bigger than his size.
Yep.
Something that was impressive about him, his vertical is 41.5. That means it's a damn ball.
He's got some Maurice Jones-Drew like heft to him for
right.
I mean, he's not small. He's 5'10". He's just over 5'10". But
Mm-hmm.
he ain't Jayden Higgins. He's not a skyscraper. So yeah, he's a strong little dude. Yeah.
Now, one thing I might disagree with you on a little bit, but we'll see what happens when he lands with his NFL team and kind of goes from there, is he actually, you said he's kind of like Xavier Worthy in some ways, but he actually didn't do a great job of yards after the catch. That's kind of what I have on the cons list. I put on there that may have limited upside. I think he might be limited to like a wide receiver 2 or flex play in dynasty leagues, although maybe he overcomes that. And he wasn't seen as somebody who forces missed tackles. So those were things I put on his cons list. But he's a player that I'm excited about. And the last mock draft I did, I think he went 209, if I'm not mistaken, which like we keep saying, the theme of tonight is at that price, take the shot.
There's so many guys. I mean, that window is going to be where drafts are won and lost this year, is like late second, because there's going to be not just starters, but stars taken, multiple stars taken, on average between like 2.7 and 3.1 in this draft.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with you. Like, this draft is underrated for sure.
I have serious draft FOMO because in like one of the leagues I have a 209 and 212, and a part of me is like, dude, trade out of those, and the other part of me is like, whoa, what if I get this guy and this guy?
Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Yeah. And just to softly put the ball back on your side of the net, Noel was a punt and kick returner for all 4 years at Iowa State. That's the kind of guy that teams are going to want to put the ball in his hands at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, and let him go do his thing. So you say he didn't create after the catch. He was working deep a lot. It's hard to add yak when you're catching 40-yarders with a defensive back strung across your back. You can, but he's kind of like rich man's Parker Washington to me. So yeah.
So the stuff I see is he gets comped to Tyler Lockett a lot and Christian Kirk, and I'm good with drafting either of those guys. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Might be learning from Kirk.
Right. This is the big guy that I'm surprised you didn't think about, man. But maybe when I say the name, it'll kind of register. So Tre Harris.
He's not that big. I mean, yeah, he is pretty big.
6'2", 205 pounds, 23 years old. He was hurt last season. 60 receptions. I think he played only 8 games, if I'm correct on that. But with 8 games, 1,030 yards and 7 touchdowns, that's impressive, man. Let me go over the pros real quick that I saw real quick. Catch radius and ball skills, and I thought he was also physical after the catch. I think they had him run a limited route tree, but I think he can do more. So, yeah, how do you feel about Tre Harris?
I think he's a guy who he's coming out of Lane Kiffin's pro-style offense at Ole Miss. Teams are going to like that. And his numbers, I feel like, were maybe propped up by, Jaxson Dart steadily improved at Ole Miss after, getting run out of USC by the Caleb Williams show coming to town from Oklahoma. So we could. I think he probably will be a day 2 pick because, but kind of like Alec Iomenor.
Yeah, you got it.
I think it's a guy who the draft capital could juke us, could trick us into thinking, oh, this guy's the future in Las Vegas or this or that. Tre Harris to an NFL team is a guy who can command defensive attention outside. Like, teams are going to have to take him seriously. They're going to have to bracket him. NFL teams want receivers who can force defenses to occasionally commit 2 defenders to them. Whether they're going to use them on offense or not, it's the Marquez Callaway effect. They want guys who have the size and the speed to make defensive coordinators think twice about leaving them alone one-on-one. Tre Harris obliterated man coverage at Ole Miss. He destroyed it, okay? That's all he did, okay? So teams are running, 65% cover 3 or some sort of zone coverage with, 2 high safeties, the cover 3 shell, stuff like that. That's the kind of coverage that makes Tre Harris not super appealing in fantasy because he's going to be super boom bust. I mean, you're hoping for him to run under a couple of balls. But to an NFL team, it makes their life so much easier to have one player neutralize 1.2, 1.5 players on average per play over the course of an NFL game. That's you're winning on that trade rate, like trading pawns early on in a chess game. So I think we could see him go early 3rd round to like a real team, to like the Eagles or something. I mean, probably not the Eagles, but to like a real team and go, oh shit, this guy's gonna be a guy, and it's total bullshit. He's not that young. He's I think he's 24. I think he just turned 23. Will be 24 in February. And like he screams one trick pony to me. So I have a hard time getting excited about him. Of course, if he goes to like Buffalo, then we're gonna be like, ooh shit, this guy's the new shit. What's that?
What's gonna happen to Keon Coleman if that happens?
Hey, Keon, man, we could have a whole episode just about Keon.
I have a question because I'm glad you brought up Buffalo. So if we putting you on the spot, like we got Higgins, Tre Harrison, and Coleman. Like, how do you rank the 3 across the board?
Just straight up, like, who do I want? Like, who's the best player?
Who's the best players? Who do you think has the biggest potential? Because a part of me, I love Keon Coleman, his personality and everything, but I think he might be number 3 for me, man.
Oh, I'm not putting Harris over him. No way. Harris would have been a much better player 20 years ago. The game has just gone away from guys like him eating consistently. Unless, here's the thing, if you're the best in the NFL at what you do, then okay, you can go be Mike Evans. You can go win it the old way most of the time and be just fine. But if you're not the best man coverage killer in the league, sorry, that's going to be a real tough way to make a living. I mean, Mike Williams would break our hearts by, catching 8 balls for 150 and a touchdown one week and then disappearing for a month. That's the nature. I mean, Amari Cooper, somewhere in between, a guy who, was excellent against primarily man coverage to the point that he was more consistent than Mike Williams ever was, but still he put up a lot of clunkers, a lot of 1 catch, 2 catch days in his time. So I think
oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I think that's what Tre Harris is. Like, he just doesn't have enough short area lateral type of agility to my eyes. He has some. I could be wrong. He has some, but I just like there are players who are going to do that probably so much better than him that it's gonna get him typecast into, okay, you live outside and you run 9s and drag routes and just thin out the box for us, and you're more valuable to us than you are to fantasy owners. That's the odds-on thing for me there. Coleman versus Higgins, I mean, we'll see. Coleman had a fine rookie season. He was in a very difficult he was in a very difficult situation in that, early on the Bills, they already had Khalil Shakir, who they've now paid, who could operate lined up inside, and they needed a big outside, which is not really Keon Coleman's thing, but it's what they needed him to do, so they put him outside a lot, and he didn't command a lot of looks that way. The Bills did not push the ball down the field at all last year. And then once Amari Cooper shows up, they were able to get a little more flexible. They were able to move Keon Coleman around a little bit more, but then he gets hurt right away. So I'm not closing the book on Keon Coleman at all, but yeah, Higgins is very intriguing. Higgins could be a superstar. Keon Coleman could still be a star, but maybe,
Oh, yeah.
between the two, like, just because, Keon Coleman's path to being able to start him weekly could be very difficult over the next couple years, whereas Higgins could walk on to, like, he could be a Raider and go get 6 targets a week in September. Keon Coleman's probably not going to get 6 targets a week in September unless he just is him. He is ready to ball. Yes, that's a toss-up. But to me, Tre Harris is not even in the conversation. He is, like I said, a guy that certainly as a rookie he's going to be Alec Pierce, best case.
Okay. So Tre Harris, I think what's going against him right now, I think he's only truly been playing wide receiver for about 5 years. And some of the comments on him, besides what I just said, is durability concerns. And just kind of like Higgins, even though I think he can do more routes, maybe a limited route tree, but I think if he was younger, he would be we'd be thinking of him as a higher upside. But the fact that he's 23 and has only been playing the position for 5 years, that's something. But I do think there's some high potential there, depending on where he lands. So, yeah.
I will allow that, the way the Chiefs wound up using, Rashee Rice, the what we think of Rashee Rice as now, that is not what he did at SMU. That he was more of a conventional X receiver at SMU. He showed some promise as a short area drag route, catch the ball and make something magical happen type of guy. But that's not what he did. He was winning jump balls at SMU primarily. What he was and what he did morphed. We had an early indication that could be the case when the Chiefs, after picking, were like, Patrick Mahomes met with him in Dallas and really liked what he saw and said, yeah, go ahead and take him. If we get that kind of breadcrumb on Tre Harris, ooh, yeah, Josh Allen said, yeah, this is the guy. Then okay, yeah, but start moving him up the board. But right now it's what NFL team is going to ask him to do something differently than what he's shown us so far? That's what he needs. And until we have that, it's guesswork for me.
Gotcha. So I think let's get close to ending the night, man.
Wrap it up.
So Drinkin Dynasty take. Let's take a sip. What late round sleeper are you taking a shot on?
Oh God, I can only say one.
I hope we don't have the same one. Let's see.
We're playing Battleship right now, and someone's ship's about to get hit. Late round sleeper. Oh my God. Damien Martinez. I love Martinez.
I do.
I don't even think he qualifies.
I'm glad you're saying.
What's that?
Damien, I see him going sometimes late second to early third, but I'm glad you're talking about him because I love Damien Martinez. So go ahead.
He's going to be scooting up boards. Elijah Arroyo, the tight end for Miami, he's got my attention for sure. He could easily be the tight end 3 in the class. Gunnar Helm, another tight end for Texas. He bombed his 40 time. Ignore that. He actually was hurt. We're pretty sure. So his tape, the athleticism shows up. He's a playmaker. He's a threat in the red zone. He was the guy that Ewers looked to in the red zone a lot in 2024. He can play. He can flat out play. He could be the tight end 3 in this class. I don't even think Skattebo qualifies as a sleeper anymore, but if you still think that he does, then yeah, holy shit. He could be a top. He could wind up. You could wind up looking back and going oh my God, I can't believe I didn't take Cam Skattebo 6th overall.
Skattebo. I've been doing a few mock drafts lately, and sometimes I see him fall late to second, but honestly, he should be an early second to me.
He will be everywhere. Jalen Milroe just for the ceiling. Like we said, he could wind up being the guy in Pittsburgh. especially if they sign Rodgers or any veteran. Milroe could be what we thought what we were hoping Anthony Richardson was going to be. 32 rushing touchdowns in his 2 seasons starting in Alabama. High character, like teams love this guy that talked to him. Somebody's going to make him their Michael Penix at quarterback going forward, like that. Except he can run. So yeah, Milroe. Like if you need help at quarterback, but you can't afford to spend a first rounder, Milroe needs to be on top of mind. R.J. Harvey.
Yeah, R.J. Harvey, man. I almost put him on this list, but yeah, I like R.J. Harvey a lot. So.
R.J. Harvey is a baddie. There's one that I can't bring myself to give up on the show. I just can't do it, and so I'm not going to. But I'm looking at his name right now, and I'm like, oh, I want to say it. Nope, not going to say it. Bashal Tutin. Bashal Tutin.
So I'm not a Tutin guy. There's going to be other guys in his range that I think I prefer to take, but I don't blame anybody for taking the shot on him. Like with his speed, but he's just not my kind of guy. Like I'd rather have a Damien Martinez over a Tutin. Just me personally and the way I view things. But yeah, I'm glad you brought him up. But I think he's going like late second at the moment.
His arrow's up for sure. Obviously after that combine, yeah. Like with a Damien Martinez, just with. And we're biased by what we just saw in 2024, but also that could just be the way things are going. Like yoked up, rugged AF runners took over the league. Mm-hmm. Not just Saquon, not just Derrick Henry. Joe Mixon had a huge renaissance season in Houston and looked like a absolute beast. I mean, he ran fucking hard as shit, wire to wire. I mean, he was a monster. Josh Jacobs quietly took over that offense in Green Bay. They said, after week 6, they said, what the fuck are we doing? We're running Josh Jacobs down teams' throats, and we're going to dare him to stop it, and most teams couldn't. So, it's as has always been said, it's a copycat league. Damien Martinez is an excellent, cheap way to run a copycat scheme for anybody that wants to do that in 2025. He could be the Raiders running back in 2025, not Jeanty. It's totally possible. So, although my sincere McCormick stocks are sincerely hoping they take no running backs.
Let him, Luke. It's over.
Shut up! You don't know. Harold Fannin is a guy that he was an absolute monster last year. He ate 43% of the receiving opportunities for that offense last year. 43%. So he was a beast.
The is being not really a blocking tight end, but if a team uses him as a kind of wide receiver, then sky's up.
One guy that I feel like maybe should get more respect than he has is Jordan James, the running back for the Oregon Ducks last year.
Let me stop you right there. He's on my list.
I thought so. I was going to hit one eventually.
So I was trying to go for like very late in the draft, maybe 4th round, guys that make it to the 4th round. So I put down Jordan James, 20 years old, man, so super young, 5'9", about 205 pounds. So he did 233 carries for 1,267 yards and 15 touchdowns. And what I liked about him, he's a very physical runner, showed good vision and patience. And this is something that I thought was really cool. In all his years in college football, he never fumbled. Not once.
Teams like that.
So Cons lacks breakaway speed, didn't test well athletically. But if you see him play, didn't Bucky Irving not test well athletically? So
he flunked the 40, but
So if he's in there in late 3rd, 4th, no problem taking the chance on him, man. Draft him and see what happens. If the right team picks him up, then sky's the limit. This other guy I'm going to mention, I'm not as high on as Jordan James, but we're going for late sleepers. This guy is a 4th round pick, or he's a free agency pickup after the draft. And the reason I wanted to mention him because I live in Houston. And this guy's from H-Town. I have Jayden Blue, about 5'9", 196 pounds. He ran a 4.38 40 time. Last year, 134 carries, 730 yards, and 8 touchdowns, 42 receptions, 368 yards, and 6 touchdowns. The thing with Jayden Blue is he probably will end up being a gadget player unless he further develops. He seems to have a good route running tree for being a running back, but not too much experience. The cons with him is ball security. He did drop some passes, and a lot of times when guys went in for the tackle, it kind of like pushed him back. He doesn't run very strong, but his speed. He's another guy I kind of wrote down. Kansas City Chiefs. I think like if he played along somebody like Patrick Mahomes, and they used him for like gadget plays and catching passes, I think he's somebody that might be able to excel. Again, this isn't a guy that I'm like for sure on, but like put him on, like if he gets like draft him in the 4th, or pick him up as a free agent after the rookie draft and see what happens.
Yeah.
That's why on my list.
For that price, yeah, you can't argue with it. I'm gonna say Ollie Gordon too. Obviously, his stock is down big from 12 months ago to today. Everything went wrong in 2024 for him and for the Pokes, but he was the Skattebo of 2023. Like, he exploded onto the scene in 2023. He was the entire offense. He was a monster. I would say I don't know that there's a running back. I don't know that he's definitely the answer to this question, but he's firmly in the conversation. If you had to pick one running back in this rookie class on 4th and goal at the 1 that bounces it outside and has to beat somebody one-on-one, I think Ollie Gordon is the guy that you want in that situation. Not Jeanty, not Omarion Hampton. Ollie Gordon is going to get that touchdown in that situation. Like, this is a guy. Ollie Gordon to me is like the Braylon Allen of this class. Like, a guy who is super young. He's 20 years old. He doesn't have Braylon Allen's speed, but he is surprisingly fast for his size. And dear God, what a monster to try to tackle on your own. Like, he is huge.
Glad you brought him up, because if he would have came out last year, I think he would have been RB1, right? Above Jonathan Brooks.
Well,
and this year just did dirty, man. He didn't have it this year. I don't know. I can't really say what it was, but
well, the DUI didn't help. but yeah, Oklahoma State, like, they started like 3-1. I think they started relatively strong, and then they just lost out. I think they lost like their last 6 games. Whole thing went tits up. It might have been the last 7 games, but and yeah, he bad team took him with them. He's an NFL team is going to give him a serious look. Like, there's I will say there is a chance that he goes undrafted at this point, just because of how down his stock is and how deep this class is. I don't think he will, but it is possible. But his tape from 2023, like, what an animal! Like, it was like the Cam Skattebo effect. Like, oh my God, how many people does it take to bring this guy down? And he's almost an afterthought now, and I don't think that's right. I mean, if he had been on a team that was in the college football playoff and just completely went tits up, that'd be one thing. They were terrible. They were garbage. It was a garbage team. Everything went wrong. So I think Ollie Gordon, we got to keep in mind, like, yeah, we loved him last year. Remember Pack? Pack was all about Ollie Gordon. So we gotta say, our Viva la Pack. Take some Ollie Gordon.
Man of players he takes. So yeah.
All right, have we accomplished what we set out to accomplish here, Lou?
Oh man, cheers to you. I know you're heading on vacation here soon.
I am.
Hope you enjoy, man. Enjoy time with the family. And like I always say, man, always a pleasure. I enjoy these podcasts with you, man.
I enjoy these libations, these adult beverages. We are drinking together over Microsoft Teams, which is very Gen Z and 2025 of us, and which is another way of saying it's very lame. But it's better than nothing. And we're talking some ball, and we might even entertain a couple people out there. All right, folks.
We might get that beer sponsorship at some point. So.
Oh, you know it, baby. I'm about to be back out there in them streets, bothering bothering Manhattan Project and 4 bullets saying, hey, you guys need to send us some beer or some shirts or both. All right.
Like it.
All right. Well, we'll be back soon because, like you said, I gotta go. I gotta get on a jet plane. You know, I can't say when I'll be back. It's on a need to know basis. We'll be back sometime soon to talk about where everybody landed, unpack the carnage. Oh my God. It's oh my God. It's like Christmas Eve. It's like, oh my God, did I get it? Did I get the thing I wanted? Did I get the present? We're going to find out, folks. All right. We're going to wrap it up for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Get in the Discord with us and come talk some ball. We will see you next time. Adios, Lou.